Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back for another Grand Prix here in the Rwagnation League. It's the F2 races, and we're here in Austria. As you can see, we've got 9 drivers, I believe, sorry. It's Ben Raggy McConnell on the caster's desk, and joining me today is the RNL's very own stewarding member and head of steward, Furball. How you doing?
Good evening. I'm doing very well. How about you?
I am good, much better than the weather. Have you seen the state of that weather right now?
I can assure you that the drivers are not going to have a lot of fun in those F2 cars.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. It's the F2 cars are difficult anyway. This track is a very fun track, nonetheless. But when it's wet, it's so hard to drive, so impossibly hard. But I'm gonna ask you really quickly: who do you think is gonna get pole out of these?
Well, I'm going to have to go for last weekend's winner, Marky Mark.
All right, let's go on board with him as well then. Oh, we actually have telemetry. Oh, they fixed it. Beautiful. There it is on the bottom right. As you can see, the telemetry is on screen. Oh, I've just realized that there is a mistake made on my side. I've fixed it now. It's because I got a new monitor and I changed the resolution, and so it wasn't stretched properly. But anyway, we are here. It's back underway. Wet tires are definitely on the cars. And the reason they ghosted is because this is one-shot qualifying, so they will not be contacting each other no matter what happens. And Marky Mark is looking dead hot right now.
He's been doing very well so far. I'm going to have to be honest. I haven't been watching the F2 for a while now. But seeing that he won last week makes me confident he might have a chance at winning. Saying that, he had a really poor turn there and lost quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I mean, the guy is really good in the F2 cars in general. Obviously, we're driving the F2 2019 cars, which have only just been released. I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was not long at all. So it's good. You know, we get to see the differences. Only one person actually chose the BWT today, which is not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously quite tragically in Spa, we did lose one of the drivers quite seriously. But here we are through the final corner now. It's Piloto is currently sat on pole as it stands. Marky Mark is not far behind though. Piloto comes across the line 4/10 faster than Marky Mark with a 1:25.022. Toto has retired from the session, which suggests to me that he's invalidated somewhere. Jess is coming. Oh, having a bit of a twitch there, but she's still going to make it to the line. And P8 is where she's going to sit. Alright, now you've seen the qualifying. You've seen who was struggling the most, realistically. Toto didn't seem to have a great one. Obviously, the weather will be a big sort of factor in it anyway. And I'll ask you in a second, actually, because we need to do a quick rundown, which is Piloto P1, Marky Mark P2, Max P3 with Bottas Gang P4, Nixana sits in 5th with Anusa in 6th, Racebug 7th, Jess in 8th, and Toto, who didn't get to set a time, does finish in 9th. And what I was going to ask you was, what's your top 3 prediction for the end of the first race?
I'm going to wait with that for like 2 minutes, since I really want to see if it's still raining or not.
Okay.
Because that's definitely going to have a huge impact on how the drivers are going to fare. Because I can imagine that I'd assume that not all drivers are like actively practicing a lot, saying that it's dry, which is a good thing for them. And I think even less would practice in the rain. So
yeah, makes sense. It's a tough thing to practice anyway, driving in the rain. Obviously, you can without actually saying lobbies up and doing it gets people in to do wet weather racing. You can't really practice like intermediate tires or intermediate weather, whatever. So it's purely going to be just down to wet or dry if you do it in the time trial. We're just waiting for Racebook to finish up sorting out his strategy on how he wants to attack this, and then we'll be underway with the formation lap. Piloto is already spinning his wheels, happy. So go on then, top 3 prediction, go.
Marky Mark, Piloto Paya, and Nusa.
Any reasons in particular, or you just like those drivers?
Oh, I mean, I'm still gonna go for Marky Mark since he won last weekend. I know that Nusa's pretty decent in those F2 cars as well in general. And Piloto Paya has been here from, I think, the beginning, since we've been having those F2 races, so I think he has quite a bit of experience in them as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a very fair shout, very good shout, and I'd be interested to see if Marky Mark can pull it off again. But Piloto Paya is a regular here. Like you said, he's very quick overall. Max is also another regular, but he's very hit and miss as to whether he's good or not. It doesn't always work out for him. A lot of the time you'll see him have problems, and that in itself is a bad thing. I'd like to see Max have a good race where he doesn't get involved in an incident for once, but I don't know. Maybe we're asking a little bit too much. It's good that he's got a lot of ambition, a lot of a lot of desire to want to be as fast as he possibly can. But at the same time, you got to refine that. You got to keep it under control. So with that in mind, my top 3 is going to be Marky Mark taking the race win. I think Piloto can take it, but I actually think that Racebug is going to pull it back and go P2, and I'm going to put Piloto in P3.
Yeah, I think Racebug also has quite good chances of getting onto the podium, even though he only starts, well, only in quotation marks, only starts from P7, since he's been known to be quite quick on those F2 races as well.
Yep. Well, here we go. Drivers getting into their grid boxes. All 9 of them ready and raring to go. Remember, there is 3 DRS zones on this track. Immediately, as soon as you get... Well, you got one on the home straight, but you obviously won't get to activate it until lap 3 anyway. But then you got the one from turn 1 to turn 2, and then turn 2, 3, sorry. But here we go, lights are on, and when they get away, it's going to be the Austrian Grand Prix F2 feature race. Very delayed, but we are finally underway. Oh, Piloto's had a big mistake there. Marky Mark has managed to get a really good start off. He's already jumped up into P1. Bottas Gang's trying to get in there as well. He's on the inside there of Max. Had to cut the corner a little bit. I think he was a little bit nervous of what Max would do to him. Big mistake there from Piloto. He's out. That's a big crash. And immediately my P3 prediction is just in the wall. Very sad news for him, but the race still goes on.
My P2 is gone as well with that. I don't actually know what exactly happened.
It looked like he just sort of shifted and then... Oh, we got another one. Who's that? Is that Nixana? Yep, Nixana's lost it. Jess is coming. Oh, Nixana managed to make sure he didn't get in the way of Jess there. Jess managed to gain a position out of it. She's slowly but surely working her way up the field. Max now is up into P2. So he's only just 3/10 behind Marky Mark. And the one thing is, in F1, like 3/10 pretty much sounds like he's literally breathing in his gearbox. In F1 it's very different, whereas in F2 the gaps are so big, even if it's so, the distance is so small, because you don't have as much power as you do in the F1. You can very easily lose out, so we'll see what happens.
I would generally agree with you. I think the difference here is that, as you said, Austria has number 1, 3 DRS zones, number 2, even if there's no DRS, there's a lot of slipstreaming possible here.
Yeah, that's true.
So the person behind is definitely going to have an advantage.
Yeah, possibly, but currently nothing's changing. Nixana has a penalty. That's 2 straight away. What's happened there? Oh, he's gone really wide. Oh, and he's in the wall. That's another one out. I think that was quite intentional, to be honest. It looked like he did it on purpose, but I don't know. Maybe I just missed something. Marky Mark is still race leader though. Max is still chasing him, just under 3/10 of a second separating the two of them. Bottas Gang is not out of this though. He's still looking for it, and when the DRS comes available next lap, we might see them start to chop and change. We'll hear it talk about, yeah, look at him going for it.
To overtake Newstar on the inside, they have been fighting for a while now. Pushing him slightly outside, but Racebug's... No, he's not alongside anymore. Slots in behind. Not a bad thing to do. He'll have plenty of time to try and get back in front.
Yep, indeed. Alright, okay. So ultimately, it's not really changed other than that. I mean, Max is still hovering around Marky Mark, but it's this next lap where everything's going to change. You know, when oh, Marky Mark's made a mistake. He's rotated the car. Ah, what a catch from Marky Mark. Oh, big contact. His teammate, they both come together, and that's both of them rotated. Marky Mark is slowly falling down the order. He's P6 now. He's actually still struggling to get his car rotated in the right direction. Look,
Toto is still fighting. Racebug's going down the inside. A lot of cuddling going on there, but he somewhat managed to get past. I think Toto's the one with DRS here. I'm not entirely sure. None of them has DRS, of course.
Oh, but he's looking for an opportunity down the inside here. Is Toto on Racebug again? Racebug has been a lot faster overall. Toto has DRS. There it is, activated. And Racebug's going to be alongside of him for the most part. He will obviously start to lose this now as he doesn't have DRS. He has the outside line, which is not the line you want to be taking in towards this corner if you want to try and secure a position. Might be able to get a cut back there. Looking for it. Toto runs wide. The only downside, though, if you get a cut back there, is you're on the outside for the next corner. And that's what's showing right here. There's no opportunity for him to take it. He might go for another cutback here, and he will be on the inside for the next one if he could do it. But Toto holds a nice tight line. He's managed to secure P2, and he's currently holding onto it well enough that now Racebug has to worry about Noosa behind him.
And while we're talking about the fight for P2, let's not forget who's actually in P1. It's Max.
Yeah, for now. Let's
Really
not get ahead of ourselves.
Yes, I was just
it's
going
still
to
Max.
mention that. He really has to keep his composure. While you were talking about the fight for P2 between Torto and Racebug, Max went off-road and lost about 2 seconds.
Yeah, down to 1.6, 1.5 now. Racebug and Tortor going at it again. Is Tortor going to have to take the outside line? Racebug's all over the inside of it. Not really going to be able to get benefit from that. Tortor makes a mistake. That was a big wobble there from him. He managed to catch the car, but he's lost that position. And immediately, Noosa's trying to line him up as well. Here he is slipstreaming and DRSing all the way down in towards turn 3. Brake hard into the corner. Make sure you don't lose it. You want to get the apex beautifully, and he's done that. Torto's got a good drive at the corner as well, but Noosa has still holding on to P3. He's trying to get the slipstream from Racebug. It's a fight for that air. For once, the dirty air is welcomed as much as possible. Noosa's got the inside. Torto's trying to get around the outside. If he can hold it, he might be able to keep it. And he's got it. Torto up in a P3. If he can stay there, he's got the inside for the next corner. And there's no way now that Noosa can come back at this. Torto up in a P3.
I mean, it's rather Torto keeping P3 because Noosa was actually benefiting heavily from Torto and Racebug going at it. And somehow just managed to get basically into the fight for P1 here. And while we're talking about that, Racebug is really basically in the gearbox of Max Thor now. And he'll have DRS for a while now.
And this is where you're going to start to see Max. And the area where he struggles the most is when he's under pressure. You know, I mean, even when he wasn't under pressure, he just backed off. Okay. I'm not sure. I think what he tried to do is back off to let Racebug through so that he could DRS him up in towards turn 2 and then 3. And then just get that position back that way. I think he was worried about... I think he's trying to think 2 or 3 corners ahead, but ultimately he's actually lost the... He's just handed race lead over.
Not the smartest decision in hindsight.
I mean, it's not over yet. He is literally right on the back end of Racebug here, coming up towards turn 4. And he might be able to get across... He's throwing it in here. He might actually be able to secure the race lead again. It's worked for him there. Oh, there's a big wobble there. He just chucked the car in and just prayed that he would get the outcome of that. He's got it so far, but Racebug has a much faster line. He's taking the outside. Max is going to be a lot tighter. He needs to make sure he doesn't run too wide. And if Racebug can stay alongside of him, which he has had to back out, then he could hold Max dead to rights, and there's nothing that Max could do about it. And now we're going to go again, and I think we're going to see a repeat of Max once more.
I'm actually astonished. Max is in front, and I didn't expect that. So maybe his decision wasn't too bad, saying that he went way too wide in the final turn, and he's not even going to have to give up his position now, because Racebug's just going to take it.
Yep, and now he's got to worry about Torto, who's all over the back of him. So whilst it was just a battle for P1 a second ago, it's now a battle for the top 4. Noosa right on the back of Torto as well for a split second through that corner, but he ended up falling apart a little bit quicker than he necessarily wanted to. Max has managed to get himself back into race lead, does have the inside line for this corner, but it does mean he's not going to have DRS down here. But because of the way that he takes that corner, he just drove a really wide car. There was no way there that Racebug was going to be able to pass him back, and Max is going to hold on to race lead for another lap.
It does seem like that, yeah. Unless he makes a mistake. Don't count that possibility out.
Yeah, that's true.
But as you said, it's actually a very close battle. P1 to P4 possible for all of those drivers.
I want Toto to get himself back up there again. I mean, he's slowly falling behind. He doesn't have wing damage. He's just not really able to keep the pace as close as the others. I mean, don't take anything away from the fact he's still well within this fight. You know, he's right there on the back of it, but he's not had any DRS overtaking opportunities. He's literally just been using it just to keep himself with the pack. Although now I've said that, he is here. He is ready to go. Racebug gets a penalty. Max has gone on the inside again and backing off to let him back through once more. This strategy has worked twice before, but this time he's going to lose 2 places. He's trying to throw himself in between the gap. He's got a penalty for his troubles. Just sent it down the inside. Didn't work out for him. Toto now is all over the side of Noosa, and he's done that. Now onto the slipstream of Max. Noosa's going to lose a lot of ground here due to the fact that he's got that slipstream. Now he needs to worry about braking in time to not lose the car. In the come to turn 3, and Toto is still ahead. Just about little contact there between the two, but still everything's all Gucci. And now it's Max on the back of Racebug. Is he going to be able to take a dive in towards turn 4? It's not beyond the realms of possibility, and he's going for it. This is a tough one. I've seen this before. But this time, Max keeps it clean. Manages to hold on to... Oh, I don't know, actually. I think Racebug's got this. He's got the inside for this corner, but he's backed out a little bit. Max is trying to get around the outside, and Racebug holding Max to the outside too, not letting him back through. Max is technically in the lead again, but if Racebug can get a good slingshot out of this corner, and he can't, and he could have took that back, Max back in the race lead.
This is some really good racing. Max, just very smart, very fair.
You sound so surprised.
Aren't you?
Well, yeah. I am. Racebug, though, coming up to the back of Max again once more. This time Max actually staying in race lead for the first time in the last few laps. He's been losing it on purpose. We'll see if that actually hinders him throughout now. Toto is P3. Noosa around the back of him, ready to attack. Toto doesn't really have slipstream. He's actually outside of DRS. Not that he actually doesn't have DRS. This is going to be Noosa flying up in a
diving
P3.
on the inside of Max. Can get in front for now. Max probably with a better exit, though. But
yeah.
Racebug has DRS.
He does, yeah. I mean, it's all about the timing of when you go for the attack. He made that work perfectly. Max is going again down the inside. This has happened a few times. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Neither car gets properly destabilized, sorry. Racebug takes the race lead, and he's going to hold on to it, at least for now.
Max really has to just stick with him for now. There are 2 more laps after this, and a lot can happen. 2 laps, 6 DRS zones.
Oh, Max is all over the back of Racebug. Honestly, that gap is just getting shorter and shorter. And if only the same was happening for Noosa, he just seems to be falling away now. 1.4 seconds is that gap. Toto's falling away from him as well, or slowly brought it back together. Big lock up there from Racebug. This is Max's opportunity to pounce. Big mistake there with the back end. Just span it so hard. He's not using DRS though. I'm not sure if he's got an issue, but he definitely has DRS. Now he's going to be trying to slingshot up here in the run up towards turn 2, 3. And I'm not sure if Racebug is going to have anything to defend this with.
I think Max just kept his DRS close on the main straight to have it here. It's going to work out, but Racebug's probably going to have DRS now. We'll have to see. Yes, he does.
Yeah, he does.
But he's quite far behind.
Max got an absolute bullet of an exit through the turn 3 there. I don't know how he managed to deliver it, but he did. Toto's also looking for an opportunity on Noosa. Big lock up there from Toto. Could have almost gone into the back of Noosa, but he didn't. And it's staying as it is for this lap around. Max back into race lead. This is the crucial area he needs to think about it, though. Bottas Gang's got past Jess. That's Jess in P7 at the minute. Still getting some valuable points. Toto looking for something on Noosa. Nothing's going to change there. But this is the bit. This is the lap. We're about to start the final lap of the F2 feature race. And it's going to be a question as to whether or not Max can hold Racebug back for the entirety. Or is he going to do his strategy again and back off? Although he shouldn't, because that gap is huge.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Through this last sector, he just extended his gap to almost 1 second. So he'll just try everything to stay in front now. Racebug will really have to fight to actually get close enough to attempt an overtake after the 3rd DRS zone.
Yeah, I mean, we got Toto who's looking for an attempt on Noosa again. I mean, this has been happening pretty much every lap since the start of the race. Is Toto going to send it down the inside? He's looking for the opportunity, looking for the apex. It's not going to be quite there. He's got the apex, but it's not enough. He is now within DRS attack range again on Noosa, but this is a much shorter run this time. This is not really something that Noosa is going to be able to answer. Toto's not going to be able to answer. He's trying to close up on Noosa as quick as he can. You can see he's locking up and he destabilizes himself. That is pretty much handing Noosa P3 now. We're going to go back to the race leader as Max. And I can't believe Oh, that's a mistake. That was what I was waiting for. He's lost the car completely. And all the drivers behind have been gifted. Max had this in the palm of his hands and then just throws it in the bin. Max will be looking to get P4.
Was that Racebug's tactic? Was he just staying behind?
And just let Max destroy himself?
Making Max feel comfortable and he throws it away. Or maybe there was some like voodoo involved. I'm not entirely sure, but I don't know how he did. But Racebug's winning. Even though he had a penalty, lost 2 seconds to Noosa, still stays in front.
Yes, indeed. So Racebug is your feature race winner, taking P1 with Noosa in P2. Toto takes P3. Max takes P4. Marky Mark crosses the line, takes 5th. We've got Bottas Gang, who's a little bit further behind. He's got to come across the line and take P6. Slowly but surely, he's making his way there. And the only DNF is actually... Oh, I thought it took so long to come into shot there. I wasn't sure if he'd actually DNF'd or not, but no, he hasn't. There he is across the line. And now Jess, just 2 corners to go, and she's going to be taking a solid P7. Very well deserved. Worked hard to get there. I mean, these F2 cars are difficult in general anyway. But here she comes now. Points in her pocket. P7 for her. Good stuff.
I'm going to have to give a huge shout out to Bamos. He was, in your Twitch chat, he was like, everyone's sleeping on Toto when we were doing our predictions. And he was right. Toto's on P3 now.
Yeah. He was gifted, though. The P3 was gifted. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Toto, and I agree that Toto is really good in the F2 cars for the most part. But it seems that he just gets... When the pressure seems to be on him, that's when he falls apart a little bit. He can't seem to necessarily bring it all together, but... You know, we'll see, because we've got one more race to go. Just a sprint race. Not far away, but the one thing that Max did have, actually, is he did get the fastest lap of the session. So that will actually come to him. We'll come to that in just a second. Racebook takes the race win with Noosa in P2. Toto takes P3. Max takes P4. Marky Mark in 5th. Bottasgang 6th. Jess in 7th. Nixana 8th. And Piloto... Nixana and Piloto were the 2 DNFs of the race, so they still get points, but... that is it. And when you look at the race weekend, it is actually still Racebook in the lead. Max, yes, he's P4, but he's only 1 point behind Toto because of the fact he got fastest lap. Piloto has 6 points, actually tied with Jess, but it's because he has 4 points from the qualifying. So that does make a big difference in that respect. Piloto still has an opportunity to jump up a fair few places. I mean, you are literally expecting Racebook to DNF if you're going to try and take the race, the weekend win. And I'm not sure that that's going to actually happen. But now, so all right, you've seen the qualifying, you've seen the feature race. We're now here in the sprint race. And question time for you, Fairball, is who's your top 3 for this one?
Oh, this is pretty hard. I'll tell you once the formation lap starts, so I can see who starts where. Generally, though, I think Marky Mark and Piloto Pai are gonna really have to. They have to do something to feel better about the first race, because they were in good position. I was actually I assume both of us were actually expecting both of them to fight for P1, but after what happened on the first lap, that wasn't the case.
Yeah, indeed. Interestingly, Bottasgang's gone onto the super soft tyre. Now, I'm not sure exactly why, but he has. This is going to be an interesting one, to say the least. So, Nixana is going to be leading this one, Jess in P2. Bottasgang's obviously there in 3rd. Marky Mark is going to be in 4th. Max in 5th. That's a mistake from Bottasgang. Excuse me. Going into turn 3, just runs seriously well. Oh, there's actually... Is that Racebook? No, it's Nixana. Nixana's lost it on the formation lap. Not good at all from him. Pilotopai has come in. I think he also had an issue. But yeah, slowly but surely we are going to make our way back to the home straight. And it just... So you've obviously done your prediction. From my perspective, honestly, I really don't know. Max is looking good, but we didn't get to see Piloto really take off. Marky Mark had a really rough start to the race in the last race. Obviously started on pole, made a mistake initially, and obviously lost the position to Piloto in the run up towards turn 1. I think Marky Mark is in a really solid position to just go for it. The question is he going to be able to... Oh, that scared me. Is he going to be in a position to dodge Nixana or you know, Jess or Bottasgang if he can get through them? I mean, we've already seen Nixana having issues overall. Even on the formation lap, he's just had a problem. It's now a question of whether or not they're going to be able to keep it together throughout the race, and whether or not Marky Mark can just tear on past. I want to see what Bottasgang can do on the super soft tyre. Surely they can't make it to the end.
I would also say so. My 1, 2, 3 is going to be Toto, Noosa, and Marky Mark.
Well, here we go. The final race of the F2 weekend. The lights are on, and it's now time to get underway with the Austrian Grand Prix. And immediately, we're seeing a good start there from Marky. Gone for a move there on Jess. He's already up. Bottasgang absolutely rockets up into P1. He's now gets good line through there. Racebook and Jess having a side-by-side battle as well. Jess is slowly but falling down the order as everyone's just flying past her at the minute. Noosa and Raceberg having a good scrap as well. Further upfield, Max in P4 trying to get involved in this battle for P1, 2, and 3. Marky Max on the inside of Nick Sander. Nick Sander's had a bit of a wobble there. That's the back end kicked out. Immediately, Max is going to fly up into P3. Nick Sander's gone wide. That's a big mistake. Comes across the track. Manages to avoid everybody rolling back across now into the wall. Doesn't actually get any damage somehow. But it needs to be so careful. That's twice we've seen him in just this race alone, where he's lost it in towards turn 3.
It's a very tough turn to take in F1 cars, and it's gonna be even more difficult in F2 cars, obviously, because they're so sensitive on the accelerator.
Yep, indeed it is. So Bottas gang leading the race, already half a second ahead of Marky Mark, his teammate in P2. Max is getting a little bit out of shape there, chasing after Marky Mark, who's also about 4 tenths behind. Tortor 6 tenths behind Max in 4th. Noosa outside DRS range, not that we're going to have it yet. Remember, we only get DRS on lap 3, which we've just started lap 2, and no surprise, Bottas gang does take the fastest lap so far. Oh, look at this, we've got a little scrap going on as well further downfield. Is that Piloto? Yes, it is. Piloto and Noosa having a little moment there, but Noosa gets the better line. Piloto just couldn't hold it together, was so worried about running wide into Noosa. Still there in with a chance of attacking, but it's just not yet. As you can see, Raceberg just rockets down the inside, and that's Raceberg up to P6 now.
While you were talking about the battle in the back, I was just paying a bit of attention to the battle for first. And you know, I can't really say how this is gonna unfold. There's still quite a bit to go, and it's really close. Even Noosa, who you were just talking about, in P5 is only 1 second behind Tortor, and should anything happen in front, he's gonna get even closer, and it's really close.
It is. Honestly, my gut feeling was I wanted to put Max on race win today in this race, and I think because just based on his first race was really solid up until that final lap. He had, did everything right. And that was a mistake there from Marky Mark, running wide on the final corner. This is going to bring Max into this a little bit. Now we started lap 3. You're not going to get DRS on the home straight, but you will get it from turn 1 up to turn 3. Marky Mark just jittering around a little bit. Max all over the back of him, looking for an opportunity. Back end steps out just a tad. Marky Mark is going to be able to use the slipstream here on Bottas gang. This is ultimately going to be the first attack that we're going to see of the race, using DRS at least, and he's alongside of him. Bottas gang's going to be left out high and dry. Max is trying to get involved in a big wobble there from Marky Mark. That's allowed Bottas gang to come across. He's also had a huge wobble. Max now comes in towards P2. Looking good for Max, and I really didn't expect to see this early on.
This is a really good fight. I think Max is... Look, I'd be surprised if he wouldn't want to redeem himself for the first race. Even on the last lap, he actually did really well. He was able to pull away from Raceberg, and Raceberg was probably at a point where he had given up. He wasn't able to close in on Max, and his mistake just cost him the win. And he's probably going to try everything to do it here.
Yeah, he really will. Well, there's a 3-way battle going on as well for P5 at the minute, as Piloto is looking for an opportunity on Raceberg. Raceberg's currently leading this mini little train that we got going on, as Noosa's just watching it unfold as it stands. Bottas gang slowly but surely falling away. Max is in attack mode, looking for Marky Mark now. He knows the run up to turn 3 is the main one to think about, and here is the scheduled attack. DRS wing wide open. He's going to be slipstreaming as much as possible down to it. Comes out of it now, looking for a good old slingshot. He's going to be taking the outside line in towards turn 3, but he's just about ahead. And Marky Mark with an absolute monstrous drive through that corner, carries so much speed and just bullets out. Look, he's already almost at 4 tenths of a second ahead of Max, and he was behind him before they got to the corner. Don't know how he carried that amount of speed, but Max lost out big style there. Bottas gang's not far behind this, trying to accompany him. And Piloto, he didn't make the pass on Raceberg, but he has somehow managed to shake off Noosa a little bit.
I have no idea how Marky Mark was able to break that late, but he did really well. Didn't lock up. Even had the advantage of DRS on the following straight, and didn't give Max a chance.
Yep. Really didn't. Max looking for an opportunity on Marky Mark again. I want to keep an eye on Piloto as well, as he's really close to the back of Raceberg. Big lock up there from Piloto. Max, again, same as last time, but this time he needs to find a way to get to the inside for turn 3, because Marky Mark seems to get drive out of that corner like no one else can. So now it's a little bit of a problem that Max has got to try and counter. It's just, has he got the mechanical ability to do that? As Marky Mark is holding the inside. There he is. He's now in it, but he's lost so much performance. Runs wide, goes into Marky Mark. No damage on either car, at least at the minute, but he loses that position. Bottas Gang has managed to capitalize on it. All over the back of Marky Mark as well with the DRS wing wide open. Marky Mark has also got DRS as well, so both of the teammates are going to be holding 1 and 2, but now Bottas Gang's going to have to take the outside line. It's going to be a tough one. Max might try and get on the inside and push Bottas Gang over as much as he can, but no, he can't. He's going to stay in P3 for now, and Max just gets caught out in turn 3, and ultimately that cost him.
It was just, it's good to see that none of them got damaged, spun, or whatever, because we get to witness a pretty good fight. They're even closer together than we were before, and now Bottas Gang is just in the middle of them in a sandwich of M's, of Mark and Max. Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Alright, so Marky Mark is in trouble from the 2 drivers behind. Max all over the back of Bottas Gang. He's trying his best to attack him as much as is physically possible, but it's not looking like he's going to get it, unless he's going to go for it here in turn 1. Don't know if he's done that a little bit too early. They will both have DRS. But the ultimate problem he's got now is that he hasn't got the line, and that's Bottas Gang just bringing himself back through again. Max is trying his absolute hardest to get onto him. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a lunge down the inside. I think he's going for it. Here he is again, but this time makes it very surgical. Big mistake from Bottas Gang. Loses the car completely. Doesn't go into the wall. He's going to have to slowly bring himself back on track to avoid any contact with any other driver. But those tyres now will be pretty hot, and that's his podium chances just chucked in the bin as we're on lap 6 of 7. Racebug looking for moves on Piloto if he can bring himself closer, but Marky Mark may have just got what he needed in order to get the race win.
Let's wait and see how this last sector goes. Max seems to be really good in those last 2 turns. He just seems to be so close at the beginning of the main straight. So let's see if he can catch up. I mean, he has to. There's only one left.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a lot of time to play around with this. I mean, Max is slowly bringing that time down. The question is he going to be able to do it in time for the end of the race? Here we start the final lap. Marky Mark crosses the line first. Max, 7/10 behind him, slowly bringing that down, trying to get the optimal line there. You can see how much he gets onto the curb so he can just carry so much momentum through up towards turn 3. 6/10 is the gap right now, slipstreaming as much as is physically possible, bringing it down to 5/10. He needs to make sure that he does what Marky Mark did earlier and just get the exit of dreams, and it's not looking like he's going to get it there, and that's Marky Mark ahead. Still 4/10 though between the 2 of them. This is an opportunity for him if he can find an inside line. Marky Mark knows it, that's why he's defending really hard. And now he's going back over again, but Max is just too far back to capitalize on this. Unless a miracle happens like Piloto's trying to do here on Toto. He's looking for an outside. Toto's ran deep. This is going to bring Piloto into the inside. I think he's going to be able to get that position. He is. Piloto, last lap attempt, gets in a P3. Max is just going to be too far back, it looks like. Doesn't make the mistake he made on the last race. Is still here, right on the back of Marky Mark. Oh, big twitch there from Max. Gets nothing for it. I thought that was him getting a penalty, but it's actually Nixana having issues. Slowly bringing himself closer, but unless Marky Mark makes a mistake and gets a penalty, I don't think anything is going to change here. Max gets a penalty. This might have cost him. Here he is still on the back of Marky Mark, trying his best to opportune this DRS slipstream all the way through, but Marky Mark crosses the line. Mark takes P1, Max takes P2, Piloto takes P3, but loses it. Toto again. 2 podiums in a row now. Piloto coming in 4th, Racebook in 5th with Noosa in 6th. Bottas Gang's in the pits again. I think he's not happy with his race. Jess is going to be the next one to cross the line after Bottas Gang. And then you got Nixana, who has pitted a couple of times, I believe. I think he's actually made it 3 stops. No, this is only 1 stop. And he's gone on to super soft tyres. Don't know if he's going to try and take the fastest lap away from him, but we will see. As Jess is going to be coming up to it slowly. Final sector to go.
We're gonna have to be honest here. I think Bottas Gang's strategy on the super softs just didn't work out in the end.
Yeah.
We lost all grip out of turn 3. As we saw Nixana do on the first lap and on the formation lap for that matter.
Yep. Absolutely. There it is. Cross the line now. So Bottas Gang comes across in 7th. Jess takes 8th. Nixana has left. So will not be finishing this Grand Prix. Good, solid points for Jess there. We'll see now when we come to the final screen who is going to finish where and who's got the most points. So that's the end of that race. Marky Mark taking the race win, gets the 15 points that he needs. Max in P2 with 14 points. Tortor in third, getting 10. Piloto in fourth, getting 8. Racebug fifth. Noosa 6th, Bottasgang 7th, Jess in 8th, and then a disqualification there for Nixana. It means 0 points out on the table for him. But when you look at the weekend, it is Racebug who takes the entire weekend with 31 points. Max just behind in 3 points in second place, 28 for him. It gets a fastest lap as well for the last race. I think he even got it for the race before, which did help him, so that's good stuff. Tortor gets a very solid P3, tied in fact with Marky Mark. Which was really impressive nonetheless, but still not enough for him. Noosa P5, Piloto P6, Bottasgang P7, Jess takes P8, and Nixana finishes in last place. So, thank you for commentating with me for the F2 races.
It was a pleasure.
It was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. We will be moving over to the F1 races very soon. For the meantime, enjoy the music, and we'll see you